Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome on board. Quick question, you guys want to learn anything and everything to do with the ILS? I'm glad you asked. Alright, let's get right into it. Let's do an ILS tutorial today. Alright guys, let's get right into it. So I am back in Russell Khaimah Airport. That's Oscar Mike Romeo Kilo on the ICAO code, and it's RAK, Romeo Alpha Kilo on the IATA code. Now Russell Khaimah is this little town that sits right up north in the UAE, and it's surrounded by mountains. Not surrounded by, but it's got some pretty big mountains on the side. And those are the Jebel Jais mountains. All right, now I have done a video on approaches before, but all the approaches were condensed into one single video. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing a video on each type of approach, and I'm going to start with the ILS. All right, because more times than others, we do ILS approaches into airports, provided the airport is equipped with an ILS. So today I'm going to show you everything about ILS approaches. All right, I'm going to show you how to do it in the Airbus A320 using various methods. First, we're going to use the regular managed method, as we call it. All right, which means I'm going to arm the localizer and glide slope, let the autopilot capture the glide slope, capture the localizer, take us in all the way down to minimums. All right, at minimums we're going to initiate a go around, and then I'm going to go back and I'm going to go into a holding pattern, and then we're going to come back and we're going to do what's called a localizer out ILS. All right, now with the localizer out means the aircraft is capable of capturing the localizer, all right, but it's not capable of capturing the glide slope, which means I'm going to have to go selected, and I'm going to have to manually select the rate of descent to keep up with the glide slope on this approach, and then we're going to have to refer to a chart and make sure that we're descending on the correct profile. So that's there, and then after that I'm going to do or rather I'm going to attempt a raw data ILS approach, and I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do it, how we intercept the localizer, how we capture the glide slope, and how we work the side stick manually to make sure that we're flying safely all the way down to minimums and then a landing. All right, so that's what's coming in this video today. Stay tuned guys, and for those of you who are not subscribed, please consider subscribing, like the video, share it with your friends. Okay, without any further ado, let's get on with our briefing for this flight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so on to the briefing. So as with all briefings, we start with where we are. Okay, and now we've got our aircraft plugged into a Navigraph chart, so you're going to be able to see the aircraft in real time as we move along. I'm here right now in Russell Khaimah. I'm at the very beginning of the of runway 16, basically just waiting to start up the engines and take off. And what we're going to do is we're going to take off on runway 16, and we're going to do the ILS approach. Now Russell Khaimah does not have an ILS for runway 16. So what we're going to do is we're going to be taking off, and then we're going to come back to the Russell Khaimah VOR. All right, and we're going to hold at the VOR. So we'll be taking off in this direction over here, going to make a basically make a right-hand turn 180 degrees, and we're going to intercept the VOR from what we call a direct entry, all right, into our hold, all right, so which is going to be 335 degrees. That's the RAV VOR. We're going to be 335 degrees outbound, and then turn back inbound, and then we're just going to go into a hold. And then what we're going to do is we're going to plan for the ILS. All right, now the ILS is going to require us as a category Charlie aircraft to go 184 degrees outbound, you know, at an altitude of 4,000 feet, all the way to 11 miles away from the RAV VOR, and then at 11 miles we're going to be descending down to about 2,500 feet. So we're going to go from here, from the VOR all the way out 184 degrees to DME 11 miles. All right, and when we get there, we're going to be making a left-hand turn to intercept the ILS. All right, descending down to 2,000 feet, and then by the time we reach this waypoint Darto, we're going to be doing our descent. That's our final approach fix, which is about 6.1 miles from India Romeo Kilo, which is the identifier for the ILS. By the way, I'm referring to plate 11-1, which is ILS Zulu or Yankee for runway 34. Frequency is 110.5, India Romeo Kilo. Final approach course is 343 degrees. And the final approach fix is 2,000 feet at Darto. Our decision height is going to be 294. Okay. Minimum safe altitude on the on the western side is 2,500, and because of the terrain and the mountains we have on the western side, it's going to be 8,900 on the northeast. I'm sorry, and it's going to be 5,100 on the southeast. All right. So, but we're going to pretty much stay clear of those guys. We're going to be over here, maintaining 4,000 feet. Come over here, make the turn at Darto. Towards Boseg, and then from Boseg we're going to go we're going to descend down from 2,500 to 2,000, and we're going to do the ILS approach. All right, once I've done that, I'm going to initiate a go around, which is to climb straight ahead, climb on a radial of 343 Romeo Alpha Victor to 3,000 feet to egg map and hold. All right, but I'm not gonna go to egg map. Once I'm out and I've got a decent altitude, I'm gonna climb back to 4,000. I'm gonna come back to the Russell Khaimah VOR, and I'm gonna hold again for the next approach, which is going to be a localizer out approach. All right, and as you can see on the chart, we do have a localizer only approach. All right, which means the glide slope is out, and that gives us minimums of 490 feet. All right, but what's going to happen is, instead of the aircraft automatically intercepting the glide slope and descending automatically by itself, we're going to have to choose a descent which is going to be 3 degrees, and as per our speeds, that's going to be our rate of descent. So we're going to be looking at about 140 knots, which will give us in between 700 to 800 feet per minute. And that's what's going to happen with the localizer out. Sorry, with the glide slope out approach. And what's more important is we start at 6 miles, right? So at 6 miles, we need to be 2,005 feet. Then we come at to 5 miles, where we have to be at this altitude, and 4 miles. So we'll be cross-checking our altitude all the time to make sure that we're on the profile for this approach. All right, and then once we get to minimums, we see the runway, we do our landing. All right, but again, once we finish the localizer, the glide slope out approach, I'm going to initiate a go around again at minimums, and we're going to go out again, come back to the Russell Khaimah VOR, and this time I'm going to come back and swing it around, and I'm going to do what we call a raw data approach. Now with the raw data, I will not have the assistance of the flight directors. I will be using the bird. And if you guys want want to watch a video to teach you how to use the bird, I'm going to link it in the description below. I'll also link a video on how to program the MCDU and stuff like that for your reference. Okay, even a cold and dock. So it's all there in the description below. You guys can go ahead and watch those videos, and it'll be fine. So that's what's going to happen today. We're going to do a fully automated approach, which is managed, glide slope, localizer, everything. Then we're going to come back, do a glide slope out approach, which is what we would call a managed selected. So the localizer will be managed, but the glide slope and the vertical profile will be selected by me manually. And then we're going to go do raw data, which is going to be all me flying, making sure that the aircraft is doing what it's doing. So guys, that's what's coming in the in this video. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go up into the cockpit. I'm going to set up the MCDU for the approach, and then we're going to basically set off and start the video. All right, just to have a quick brief on the weather here in Russell Khaimah. Let me bring that up again. So I just want to add Russell Khaimah to my list of airports. So it's Oscar Mike Romeo Kilo, and I'm gonna choose that one there. Go done, and here we go. Here's Russell Khaimah. As you can see, the QNH is 1001, winds are 130, 11 knots. It's favoring runway 16 in Russell Khaimah. Temperature's 39 degrees with a dew point of 23, and we've got cab okay conditions over the airport right now. So pretty nice day for flying. A little bit on the hot side, but we can manage. We'll be all right. Guys, that's the plan for today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So without any further ado, let's jump in the cockpit and let's get this flight going. See you there. Alright guys, welcome back to the cockpit. Setting up our QNH, which is 1001 on both sides. Constraints on. We're going up to 4,000 feet, so I'm going to set that up there. And now the only thing that's left to do is to program the MCDU and get going. So I'm going to make sure we're in we're in plan mode, and we're about 40 miles out, so I can see my nav display nice and correctly while I'm planning the flight. And now it's time to program good old MCDU. All right, so let's go ahead, program the MCDU, and then we're out of here. All right. Time to program the MCDU. So we start with this guy right over here. I've got my plan mode on my nav display as well. So we're gonna go into FMGC, and basically it represented with our data page. So we're gonna check that the aircraft is correct, Airbus A320-200. The engines are correct, and more importantly, our database is correct. We're good until the 12th of July. Today is the 11th of July. So we're still good until tomorrow as of the time of this recording. So we're good to go. So now I'm just gonna go init reference, init A and Oscar Mike Romeo Kilo, put a slash in there, Oscar Mike Romeo Kilo. I'm gonna put it up there. All right, I'm gonna keep Russell Khaimah as my alternate as well. Our flight number, as always, is waypoints aviation 320, and our cost index today is 25, and we're going to be doing no more than 5,000 feet today. Temperature outside is 39 degrees. All right, so that's the init A page done. We come over to flight plan, gonna go Russell Khaimah departure. We're taking runway 16, and we're going to be just inserting that, no SIDs. All right, so that's going to take us to 1,579 feet, where then we will go on to head-in mode, and then we're going to backtrack down and go towards the VOR, the RAV, which is the Russell Khaimah VOR, and then we're going to do a hold there. Now, initially for the approach, we're going to go Oscar Mike Romeo Kilo, arrival, and we're going to be doing the ILS Zulu for runway 34. And we want to go via Russell Khaimah, so we're going to go via, and we choose the Russell Khaimah VOR, which is Romeo Alpha Mike, right over there. So as you can see, ILS Zulu 34 Romeo Alpha Victor, and we're not doing a star, so we're basically now going to use that. And as you can see over here, the whole flight plan is in there as well, so that's looking good. Insert. All right, so now we've got the Romeo Alpha Victor VOR in there, we've got RAV, and all we got to do now is basically just take off, go into a hold, and then I'm gonna basically come back around and just do this procedure and bring the aircraft in for a landing. That's pretty much it. All right, so that's the flight plan page done. Secondary flight plan copy active. It's the same, we don't have to change anything because we are going to be doing all our exercises today around Russell Khaimah. However, given that the winds are out of runway out for runway 16, I'm just going to very quickly change this runway, this arrival that favors 16. So I'll just take a VOR Zulu for 16. All right, no stars. And then there it is right there in white on our navigation display. All right, we're coming down to the RadNav page. We are going to be doing all our exercises around this VOR, this airport. So I'm going to choose Romeo Alpha Victor on both sides, and now that's going to show up on our VORs on our navigation display as well. The ILS frequency will come in later as we get on towards our approach. Okay, so now we go to the init Bravo page. 59.3 is our zero fuel weight today, and our center of gravity is 28.0. Gonna put that over there. We're carrying 4.5 tons of fuel on board the aircraft, and that should give us a takeoff weight of 63.6 tons, landing weight 63.3 tons. And yep, I'm gonna block is not 1.3, it's 4.5, my friend. Thank you very much. And yep, so in case we have to do a landing, we're well below our maximum landing weight, so we're good over there. I usually like to keep 1.5 for my finals, giving me 45 minutes of flying time, and we're still going to have an endurance of an hour and 21 minutes, 2.7 tons of fuel on board the aircraft. Finally, we come to performance. We're doing a flaps 1 with a trim of up 0.5, and we're going to do a flex temp of 68 degrees, 145, 147 for the VR, and 150 is going to be our V2. We'll keep the thrust reduction acceleration at the standard 1500 feet above ground level, and then that's pretty much it, and we're good to go, guys. So that's the MCDU programmed in, and now all we have to do is basically set up our glare shield, which is going to be back to arc, go to 10 miles so I can see the runway more clearly. 4,000 set, QNHs are set correctly, and everything is good to go. On the first officer side, I'm gonna go flight plan, and I'll keep performance on my side of the MCDU. And now all we gotta do is do the relevant checklists, and we're pretty much good to go. So the cockpit preparation checklist will be gear pins and covers, they're removed. Fuel quantity is 4.5 tons. Seatbelts are on today, even though I don't have, well, I guess I have passengers. Anyway, seatbelts are on, ADIRSs are in nav mode, and the barrel reference is 1001, and we're reading just above 60 feet. So that's cross-checked. That's the cockpit preparation checklist completed. So now we're going to go with the before start checklist. We're going to make sure the parking brake is on, which it is, and takeoff speeds and thrust are inserted into the MCDU. That's all good to go. Yep, we've got our takeoff speeds inserted over there with the flap settings, and they are showing over here as well. We've got our windows and doors. They are, if I bring up the door page, all doors are closed, and the slides are going to be armed very soon, and the beacon is now on. So that's the before start checklist complete. Gonna start both engines, do the after start checklist, and then we'll do the taxi checklist, and then we're good to go. So I'll get back to you guys in just a second once I've completed all of those checks and started the engines. All right, guys, it's time to get this airplane going. So I got the strobes going, gonna get the landing lights on, all the other lights are going on as well. We completed the after start checklist, which was the anti-ice. It was checked, the pitch trim was set, the rudder trim is 0. We did the taxi checklist, we did the flight control check and everything, and radar predictive wind shear, everything is turned on and ready to go. And the ECAM memo was takeoff no blue, so we're pretty much good to go. Last thing left was the lineup checklist, which is takeoff runway 16 is confirmed, and the TCAS is on TA and RA over there. And our packs today is packs on takeoff, so everything's set up. So all we got to do now is just get this aircraft up in the air. So I'm gonna go parking brakes off, put my hand on the side stick, and I'm gonna go forward about a little bit there while holding down on the brakes. I'm gonna advance the thrust levers to 50%, and I'm gonna release the brakes, and I'm gonna go click and click into flex. And we've got ManFlex 68 SRS runway, auto thrust blue, and we're rolling. using our rudders to keep us nice and centered. 100 knots, cross check. We can now centralize the side stick. Alright, there's V1, and rotate. So bringing that nose up. Okay, we got a positive rate of climb. We're gonna go gear up now. Gear up, and we're just gonna stay on our flight directors. So we got nav, and we're airborne. So I'm just gonna keep on climbing straight ahead, 4,000 feet. And then once I clean up, I'm gonna turn around, come back over towards the Ras Al Khaimah VOR. So I'll get back to you guys very shortly. Alright guys, we've just taken off, and we are now in heading mode, keeping a runway heading. And we've reached 4,000 feet. We're in clean configuration. The autopilot is on, and now it's time to head back towards the Ras Al Khaimah VOR. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn to our downwind, which is going to be 343 degrees. So just going to turn 343 in there. There we go, 343 is in there. And now as the aircraft makes its turn, first take a look at those beautiful clouds over there. Very nice. And now it's time to program in our hold. Alright, so the hold is going to happen at the RAV VOR, which we're basically turning back towards right now. So what I want to do is I want to come here, go to flight plan, and I just want to go direct to, I'm going to put Romeo Alpha Victor as the next waypoint. Choose the first one, and now we're going to go direct to. Now we go into nav, and the aircraft is now basically tracking towards a VOR. Now at the RAV VOR, I want to go into a hold, and the inbound course is 155, and it's going to be a right hand turn. So inbound course, right hand turn, and we're going to go inserted. And then if we look at that, you can see that we're going to basically do a kind of a entry over there, and then swing around, and then we're going to be in the hold. All right, now once we get over to the hold, we're going to program with the rest of the ILS, and then we're just basically going to fly outbound and perform the approach. All right, so I'll see you guys when we're at the hold, preparing for the rest of the approach. Alright guys, as you can see, we are now in our hold over the Romeo Alpha Victor, the Ras Al Khaimah VOR. Alright, and we're basically just maintaining the hold until we get cleared. So what we're going to do is we're going to be circling around, and then once we come back to the Romeo Alpha Victor VOR, it's going to be as the chart states, which is outbound for 11 miles, descending down to 2,500, and then on to Boseg, and then down to Darto at 2,000, where we start the approach. Alright, so once I get outbound, what I'm going to do is I'm going to program in 2,000 here, do a managed descent, and let the aircraft take care of it for me. Now in the meantime, what I want to do is I want to program in all of the approach information. So everything's done over here. We're doing the hat, flight plan, radnav is set. We've got the Romeo Alpha Victor Ras Al Khaimah VOR on both sides, and that's exactly what we're tracking over here. ILS frequency is 110.5, which is correct. India Romeo Kilo, it is identified. And now we're going to do the progress page. I'm going to put Oscar Mike Romeo Kilo, and I'm going to put runway 34 in there as well. Gives us great accuracy. Then we come to performance. We're going to go to next phase and next phase again one more time, and the QNH is 1001. And according to our according to the QNH, it's according to the ATIS, it's now 40 degrees over there, 40. The winds are coming out of 140 knots at 140 degrees, 9 knots. And our ILS minimums for this approach is going to be 294. 294 on the barrel. All right, so that basically is going to program everything for the approach. And now all we got to do is, once we get back to the Ras Al Khaimah VOR, we're going to basically activate the approach phase. In fact, I can do that right now because we're just 27 miles away from what we need to do. So we're going to go ahead and go to performance, activate approach phase, and confirm it. All right, now we're going to get our barrel, which is 294, on our screen, on our primary flight display, and we're basically doing the turn right back towards the Ras Al Khaimah VOR. So everything's looking good right now. All I have to do now is basically tell the aircraft to go direct to the Ras Al Khaimah VOR and then proceed onwards with the approach. So we're going to go landing screens on for both sides, and I am going to initiate a direct to. So I come to direct to. This is the one for the hold. This is the one to take us directly there. Romeo Alpha Victor. We get our intercept, and now I'm gonna go hit insert, and there we go. So now we're maintaining 4,000 over that VOR. Looking good. So now what I can do is I'm gonna dial in 2,000 here. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and start the descent. The aircraft will follow its constraints, so push, and all constraint descent blue. It knows it has to maintain 4,000 until we get to the Ras Al Khaimah VOR, which it's doing. Once it goes excuse me, once it goes outbound, then we're going to go out 11 miles. It will start descending to 2,500 and then on to 2,000. So everything's looking good right now. All we got to do is our approach checklist, which is barrel reference 1001, both sides cross-checked 4,000, and the seat belts, they are on, but I can give them another buzz just to make sure. And the minimums 294 set, and our auto brakes today are low for the approach, and engine mode selector is normal. So that's all done. So we're good to go on this approach, guys. So now I'm just going to show you how the aircraft is going to do it. So now we're just at the Ras Al Khaimah VOR. The aircraft now is on its way to the 11-mile waypoint away. It knows it has to descend down to 2,500. So we've got descent alt in magenta and 2,500 because that's the altitude constraint we have at BOSEG. All right, and the aircraft is following along. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do, and everything's looking good. So as you can see, we're nicely nestled outbound on a 184-degree outbound for 11 miles, and then we're basically just gonna do this approach. So we're currently 24 miles away from touchdown. When we get to about 15 miles, I'm going to start configuring, and everything should be okay. So I'll get back to you guys when we're just about to join the approach. Alrighty, we're back in, and we've reached the 11-mile distance away from RAV, and now it's starting its turn over towards BOSEG. You're going to see BOSEG come up here very soon. We are now 17 track miles away from touchdown, so very soon we're going to start configuring the aircraft. As you can see, the localizer and glide slope have come in as well. We're maintaining our profile very decently, and just want to look at our charts. The go around altitude's 3,000, but I'm going to go up to 4,000 because I want to come back to the Ras Al Khaimah VOR. So let's see. All right, we are now less than 15 miles. The approach phase is already activated. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and give ourselves flaps 1. All right, flaps 1 is coming, and assuming we're cleared for the approach, we're going to go ahead and arm the localizer and glide slope using the approach button here and get the second autopilot going as well. So I've got Lock Star and GS in blue, Cat 3 dual, Autopilot 1+2. The aircraft is now basically disregarding this lateral profile, and it's now capturing the localizer. All right, so once the star disappears from localizer, we're gonna have we're going to be fully captured on the localizer. So now I'm going to go ahead, give us flaps 2, and we're just about to level off at 2,000 feet in preparation for this approach. Alright, aircraft is slowing down nicely. Once the glide slope is 1 bar above, we're going to go ahead and choose gear down and flaps 3. As you can see, the aircraft is intercepting the ILS. If I bring on the ILS screen over here, you can see it's bringing the center of the ILS needle back in, and it's going to maintain that now. Doing a good job. Good job, airplane. Good job. Alright, zooming in. Here we go. We've got the localizer. Glide slope is 1 bar above, so we're going to go ahead, gear down, speed check flaps 3. When we do that, we arm the spoilers, we turn on the outer lights, and we tell the cabin crew be seated for landing. Thank you. Alright, we got glide slope star, which means now it's in the process of capturing the glide slope. Once we have glide slope, I'm going to go flaps full landing checklist. Alright, there's the glide slope. We've got the glide slope now. I'm gonna set my go around, which is gonna be 4,000 today. And I'm gonna go flaps full. And I'm just gonna clear any messages, and I'm going to go landing checklist, ECAM memo, landing no blue, and that's exactly what we have there with the usual. Okay, landing no blue. All right, landing checklist is completed, guys. All we gotta do now is head down. When we get to minimums, I'm going to initiate a go around. Now I'm going to keep the autopilot on, which is going to show you how easy it is to do a go around in the Airbus. I've got the go around altitude set and ready. Alright, so all I have to do now is initiate the go around, which I'm going to do is I'm just going to push this to toga, and then I'm going to go around flaps, which is 1 flap up. Alright, there's the runway, nice and clear. 1,000 feet is checked. Coming up on 500 feet very soon. $500. 500 checked. Okay.
400.
400. Coming up on close to minimums. We got land.
300.
300 feet.
100 above.
100 above minimums.
200. Minimum.
Minimums going around. Pushing toga. We got man toga
100.
SRS go around track. Aircraft is climbing away. I've got 1 flap up for the go around. Got a positive rate of climb. Gear up. And that's it. We're climbing away. Looking good. We've got our F speed, which means we can now go flaps 1, directly from flaps 3 to flaps 1. There we go, flaps coming in to 1 plus F. And then as we accelerate along, we'll reach about 1,600 or 1,500 feet above ground level. Then that's gonna start flashing, leave a climb, so we bring this back to climb. Alright, thrust climb, open climb, auto thrust wide, and now we've given our speed of 213 knots. The aircraft will lower the nose to maintain, try and accelerate. Once you get past the S speed, we're gonna go flaps up and basically climb up to 4,000. And what I'm gonna do now is, now that I've gained enough altitude, I'm gonna come back onto the MCDU. I'm gonna go direct to, I'm gonna pick Romeo Alpha Victor, and I'm going to insert that. Now I want to go into a hold, so I'm going to go Romeo Alpha Victor again, hold, I want an inbound course of 155 degrees. It's a right hand hold, insert, and that's it. Now we're going to go in and we're going to go from this point over and then just join the hold. And that's basically how we do that, guys. That's a fully managed ILS approach. All right, where the Autopilot maintained the glide slope and localizer. Now the next one is going to be a little bit more tricky because the glide slope is going to be out and I'm going to have to go managed on the localizer but selected on the vertical speed to make sure that we are descending on the right profile. I've got S speed, so I'm going to go flaps up, disarm the speed brakes, and the outer lights off, and that completes our after takeoff items. Alright guys, get back to you when we're back in the hold and preparing for the next approach. See you guys soon. Alright guys, we're back in into our approach. We're heading back towards the Russell Khaimah VOR now, and then this one something happened. The glide slope failed. I do not know what happened. I don't know what button I pushed, but the glide slope failed. Nonetheless, we still have our approach in there, and we still got the localizer information active, so we're good to go, I guess. And what's going to happen now is I'm going to go do the performance. So I'm going to go direct to, we're going to go Romeo Alpha Victor, and we're going to go insert. So that's going to take us directly to the Romeo Alpha Victor VOR, the Russell Khaimah VOR. It's going to do the standard outbound and then around, come back in, and I'm just going to tell the aircraft we want to maintain 4,000 until we get close to our descent point. So now I can go ahead, put back that 2,000, and I'm going to go push. All right, push. Nope, it doesn't want to do it. No worries, I'm just going to performance, activate approach phase. And we've got the same parameters as of right now, but the difference is our minimums. Now the glide slope, the glide slope out minimums are 490. So I'm going to change that to 490, and now we've got 490 in there. And now let me see if I can do our descent. Yep, that's correct. All constraint 4,000 in magenta, and then we got the next constraints coming in. So the aircraft is now flying outbound. Is going to fly outbound very soon from the Russell Khaimah VOR, 11 miles, and then we're going to start the turn and head back towards the approach. Now the difference here is, as you can see on the charts, I have to maintain a descent profile of 3 degrees. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come here, bring up the track FPA, and that's going to give us the bird. And the bird's going to help us to follow along on a proper 3-degree profile. And what we can do now is we're just going to very quickly do the approach checklist again, which is barrel reference 1001, both checked. Seatbelts are on, minimums are 490 this time, and the auto brakes are still low, and engine mode selector is normal. So the approach checklist is completed, and we're just going to follow along, do this approach, and just make sure the aircraft is doing what we want it to do. We're 24 miles out, and now it's I'll get back to you when we're about to start our descent. Alright guys, get back to you soon. Alright, we're just about to reach our 11 miles out from the Russell Khaimah VOR, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start preparing for this. So as we get closer to our turn, which is coming up very soon, we are now going to go ahead, and we're just about coming up on 15 miles very soon. $15 miles, all right. Speed check, flaps 1. Selected. And what I'll do now is I'm going to make sure the aircraft descends down to 2,000 by Darto. And at Darto, I'm going to start our descent manually using vertical speed, or rather flight path angle, because we're in track FPA mode. All right. So descending nicely, we're going to go ahead and select flaps 2 now, making our turn nice and clean. and we're just going to zoom in over here on our distances that we have to maintain. As you can see, it's going to be a 3-degree descent, and yeah, should be good to go, guys. And because we don't have localizer glide slope today, I'm just going to arm the localizer only once we're at BOSEC. All right, once we're turning in towards BOSEC, I'm going to go localizer only. Just look at those clouds over those mountains. Nice. Alrighty. Coming up on BOSEC, we're right on our profile, perfectly on profile, 2,500. Alright, here we go. Just 3 miles away from BOSEC, making the turn. Alright, so now I'm about 13 miles away from the ILS, from touchdown. Here comes the localizer. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the localizer only. And as soon as that touches, lock star, the aircraft is now capturing the localizer and basically going to capture it
2,000.
and take us all the way in. We're 2,500 feet, but 2,000 above ground level, which is okay. We've got our minimum set. The approach checklist is completed, and I'm just going to wait until our glide slope is about a bar above, about 5 miles, I would say about 7 miles away from India Romeo Kilo is when I'm going to go gear down, flaps 3, and then we're going to start preparing. Coming up on 2,000, which is our final altitude before we start the descent. And I'm going to show you a little trick that I use. Now, different people have different ways of doing this, but I like to pre-arm things and keep things ready for me. So what I like to do is, as I get closer, now I'm about 10 miles away. In fact, I'm going to get the gear down, go flaps 3. I'm going to do an early stabilized approach. So we're 10 miles now away from our ILS. Gear down, flaps 3, arm the spoilers, lights come back on. Cabin crew was seated, were told to be seated. And now, as we get close to 2,000 feet, watch what I'm gonna do. So our first, and now we're going to be referencing the glide slope out table for our distance and altitude. All right, once you reach 2,000, so here we go. Coming up on Darto, we're just about 2.1 miles away from Darto. We're 8 miles away from touchdown. Alrighty, I'm gonna go flaps full now, and the landing checklist is complete. ECAM memo landing no glue. All right, we're good to go. So now what I'm gonna do is I am going to push this knob here and keep it as 0. All right, and I'm going to set the go around altitude. So now we've got FPA 0, so the aircraft will maintain 2,000 feet for me. All right, and as I get to 6 miles, or rather 6.1 miles, I'm going to dial, I'll dial 1.1 before, so 6.2, I'm now going to dial negative 3.0. All right, so FPA minus 3.0 degrees, and the aircraft is starting its descent. Now we're going to look at 5 miles, and we're going to see where we are at 5 miles. At 5 miles, we want to be at 1,686 feet. So we're coming up on 5 miles. I think we're going to be a little high on our approach, but I'm going to maintain that 3 degrees for now. All right, 5 miles, we were slightly high. So I'm going to increase this to 4.5, just to get us there. At 4 miles, we want to be 1,368. So let the descent continue. It's going to start catching up eventually. There's 4 miles, we're still 200 above. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep it at 4.5 until we get to 3 miles. 3 miles is coming up. At 3 miles, we want to be 1,049. Hopefully, we're going to catch up to it this time.
1,000.
There's 3 miles and we're very, very close. So coming back to 3 degrees. There you go. The next is 2 miles. And 2 miles, we've got 731. So all we got to do is just make sure the aircraft is descending on its correct profile. We're now back to 3 degrees. Here comes 2 miles, 2.1, and 2 miles and 730. We're right on the numbers. And there's the runway, looking perfect, right on our profile. Coming up on 1 mile, which is 412. So at 1 mile will be 412.
Minimum
Okay, 1 mile, 412. It's perfect.
300.
And now it's time to do the go around. Go around altitude is selected. So toga and go around flaps. All right, man. Toga SRS go around track. Aircraft is starting to climb away. As we nose up, we're gonna start gaining some altitude. Positive rate. Gear up. We've got F speed here, so we can come straight away to flaps 1. Flaps are coming in to number 1 plus F. And we're climbing away, guys. And that's how you do a managed selected glide slope out ILS approach, guys. So now I'm going to go ahead and program in for the next one. And okay, we got lever climb, so bring that back. Lever climb. And I'm gonna go ahead, climb to 4,000 feet. I'm gonna go back over to the Russell Khaimah VOR. Come to direct to Russell Khaimah, insert Russell Khaimah, hold 155 is my inbound course, and insert, and that's the hold inserted as well. And that's it, guys. So now the aircraft is going to go ahead put me back into my hold at the Russell Khaimah VOR, and then it's time for the raw data ILS. Alright guys, get back to you when we're about to start the raw data ILS approach. Alright, see you soon, guys. Alright guys, time for the next approach, which is going to be a raw data ILS approach. Now raw data means usually when we fly, we have the flight directors to help us out. Alright, tells me exactly where I need to point the aircraft in order to intercept my heading, my altitude. If I arm the localizer and glide slope, it tells me exactly where I need to be heading in order to capture and maintain. Now raw data means I'm simply going to be using the bird, which is this guy over here, and I'm also going to be using the localizer and glide slope manually to hand fly the aircraft in for the ILS approach. Now this is a very important skill to have, because when you apply for an airline, one of the things they're going to ask you to do is a raw data ILS approach, you know, as part of their assessments, to make sure that you have good ability in scanning your instruments, and your hand-eye coordination in manipulating the aircraft manually works as well. So that's what's going to happen. I'm basically flying downwind from runway 34, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to be joining in on an intercept, a 30-degree intercept to the ILS, and then I'm going to show you how we intercept this using raw data. No flight directors, pure raw data. Alright, so that's coming up in just a second, guys. I'll get back to you when we're ready for it. So in the meantime, just going to go very quickly, prepare the aircraft. Our minimums today are going to be 2904 because it's a standard ILS approach. The winds, everything stays the same. And yeah, so that's basically it, guys. After this, I'm going to go ahead and then do another go around, and then I think that will be it for the video. So stand by, guys. We're going to do a raw data ILS approach very soon. Alright guys, here we are. We're inbound towards our ILS for runway 34. Flight director's off. Autopilot's going off now. I'm gonna completely hand fly the aircraft. Alright, that's set up. And what we're doing now is we're just waiting. We're about 1.7 miles away from our track. And as soon as we get closer to it, I'm basically going to set the runway track over here, and then we're going to start intercepting. So for now, I'm just going to give some slight inputs just to maintain altitude. At about 0.5, we can expect the localizer to come alive, and that's when we're going to start our turn. Alrighty, looking good over here. Gonna go 10 miles, nice and in. 0.5, here it comes. Any moment now, the localizer is gonna come alive. So I'm gonna, in anticipation, I'm gonna set, okay, localizer is alive. I'm gonna bank to 20 degrees. All right, maintaining altitude. Set the runway track 343. And I'm gonna set the go around altitude as well, which is 4,000. And now I'm just banking the aircraft onto the track. All right, now once I level off at the track, I want to see where the localizer is. It's to the left, so I'm now going to move the aircraft over about a bird's distance away from the track, which is the blue line. And now I'm going to level off here. That's going to help us pull the localizer back in. We've got the glide slope coming in as well, so gear down. Going to set up things. Here comes the localizer. Now, as soon as the localizer is about to touch the center, we're going to put the bird back on the track. So we're just going to stay off the track for now. We're going to start our descent down towards our glide slope. Just going to capture the glide slope. We've got the localizer, so now it's time to line up the bird with the track, the tail of the bird on the track. There we go. We've got the localizer now, and as you can see, there's not much that we have to do. We've got flaps straight, flaps full, the landing checklist is completed. So now we've captured the localizer more or less. So now it's just literally giving small inputs just to maintain it. As we get closer, I just want to intercept that glide slope. Bring it back in. So as we increase our rate of descent, glide slope is coming in. There we go. Glide slope is now 1 bar away. Localizer is drifting slightly to the left. Give a little bit of left stick and stop. Level the wings again.
1,000.
All right, there's 1,000 feet. Glide slope is within. Localizer is back on. So coming back again towards the localizer now. I'm going to bring the nose up a bit just to keep us on our glide slope. We're looking for about 700 to 800 feet a minute to maintain this profile. All right. Runway's in sight as well, but I'm just going to keep focusing on this until I get to minimums, and then I'm going to go around. So we're slightly high on the glide slope, bringing the nose down again, and then quickly fixing it as the glide slope. It happens very quickly, so coming back up again, so because we don't want to get low on the glide slope.
400.
There we go. Looking good, maintaining our descent. Glide slope's going down. Going to continue with about 700 to 800 feet a minute.
300.
There we go. Nice and steady. Looking good. 100 above. Glide slope is still within 1 bar. There we go.
Minimum.
We're on glide again. Minimums. There's our runway. Going around. Okay. Mantoga SRS. Go around track. Nose up. And we're going to go flaps. 1 flap up. There we go. Positive rate. Gear up. Climbing to 4,000. We've got our F speed going back to flaps 1. And just maintaining our SRS now as we climb away. Can get the autopilot back on now. And that, my friends, is how we do a ILS approach with raw data. You got to work the stick to make sure the aircraft is doing what you want it to do. But once you get there, then there's very little required to maintain it. Very, very small controls on the side stick. So yep, so I'm now just gonna go on and I'm gonna go managed and let the aircraft head out towards EGMAP at 3000 and go into a hold. So guys, that's where I'm gonna leave you today. That's how we do all those different kinds of ILS approaches. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it educational, or speedball style, by the way. And guys, if you like it, if you like the video, please go ahead and click that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and if there's anything else you want to learn, feel free to let me know. I'm gonna do another video on the VORs, like purely on the VORs, and that's going to be pretty interesting because I'm going to be doing a VOR ARC, a DME ARC in that video as well. So stay tuned for that one, guys. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for liking and subscribing as well. Guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. God bless you, and bye bye.